request that if you are at the back and you can, please move forward. All right. So it's 9:37, and I would invite Dr. Frimpong to come and lead us or take charge of the annual General Assembly. So he'll begin with a presentation, and then we'll delve into discussions and deliberations. Please give him a round of applause. Good morning to the online people. Good morning to the online people, and thank you for joining.
Hello, thank you very much. Good morning. I would like to know if there's anyone online. Because it's our annual general meeting, we do not want to leave anyone out. So we want to ensure that those here physically and those joining us virtually, we are all together to take certain decisions. So online, how do we get to know if they are online? Let's check if there are individuals online. Okay. 4 people online. So if you add it to the number that we have here. so for the Ghana chapter, we are about 90 or even 100. If you look at the WhatsApp messages, we are more than that. And then we need to, what should be the quorum? Maybe that has to be defined. We've not defined some of these things well in the Constitution. But we need a lot more people to be online. But anyway, we'll just... All right. So basically, we are here as Pamca Ghana chapter members as part of the conference looking at our annual general meeting. And this is the time that we're going to get some updates from the executives on what we've done so far. And then we also discuss issues that we need to together, take certain decisions. And so we don't want this meeting to be a meeting of where we highlight problems. Please, if you want to highlight any problem, you need to provide solution. I hope you get me. So you don't say, this person did that, this person did that. Yes, we need to highlight the problems, but whenever you highlight any problem, you need to give us some solutions. You can also give us only solutions when you know that there are problems that have been identified. So please, let us focus on the solutions and not the problems. I want to take note of that. All right. So updates, points for discussion, provision of solutions, and then decision making. So I'll start by giving us a brief history of Pamca, because I'm sure quite a number of us joined not too long ago, and you would want to know much about Pamca. So the idea for Pamca started some time ago when members from Ghana got the opportunity to attend some of the conferences, the international conferences. So there were a lot of conferences that had happened before we established the chapter. The chapter was established some time ago, and so just before 2019, way before 2019. But then we got the opportunity to establish ours in 2019 out of, the conference that we had attended. And so there were discussions to also, have a chapter, because there were other chapters that anytime we went for the conference, they would be talking about, having the chapters and all that. So through the support of Professor Samuel Dazi and other Ghanaians who had been part of the conference, decided to establish a chapter in Ghana. So the first meeting was held on 3rd October 2019 here in this auditorium. That was the first meeting for Pamca Ghana chapter. And then in that same year, December, the association was registered here in Ghana as a non-governmental organization. Then we had the various executives. So it was through voting, they were nominated, and then members who were present voted to elect these executives. So we have, at that time, Professor Samuel Dazi became the president, and then Dr. Fred Abuajentwi, the vice president, then Dr. Juwana Akole, we know her, right? She became the secretary. Then Miss Juanita Juanidis was the deputy secretary. Then Mrs. Otubia Owusua Krofi, she was the lead organizer. Then we had Andy Asafweje as the deputy organizer. Then Mr. Osei Kweku Akuoku, who is now a doctor, Dr. Akuoku. He was the deputy organizer. Then Rebecca Poalia was the treasurer. And then myself, I was the deputy treasurer. You see that? So these were the executives that started the organization in Ghana. Then we won a bid to host the 7th Pamca conference. You know, at that time, the chapters would organize the conference. Just that's how it was. And so once you apply to, host the conference, if you win the bid, then you organize the local committee members to organize the conference. So we won that bid to do that. And so the plan was to organize a physical meeting. That is 2020. But then because of COVID, that meeting couldn't come on. And the plan was to host it as a Moving Peak Hotel. Yes, but it didn't come on. But then later on, we agreed to do this virtually. So that was the first virtual and the 7th Pamca conference and exhibition meeting, which was held in, online. And so, but it was led by the Ghanaian team to host the conference. And it was between 20th to 22nd September 2021. So that was what happened. So let's look at the current executives. So they are not here, but I'll just show you their pictures. So from the top left is the current president, and his name is Dr. Noguchi Memorial. A round of applause. Do you know him? Okay. All right. So he is a research fellow at the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research and a medical entomologist. And so research area looking at mainly study on mosquitoes, mosquito resistance, and also doing some studies on black flies. So that's where I look at the mosquitoes and then black flies, mainly on onchocerciasis, and then malaria, and then other mosquito-borne diseases. Then we have Dr. Kingsley Bedu, who is a senior lecturer at the KNUST. Then we have Miss Atibila, that's Docas Atibila, who is also at Kintampo Health Research. Then we have Dr. Sandra Abankwa-Kwatin, also a senior lecturer at KNUST. So this is the vice president. Dr. Bedu is the vice president. Then the secretary. We have the main secretary, that's Miss Atibila. Then we have the deputy secretary, Dr. Sandra Abankwa-Kwatin. Then our treasurer, that is Miss Esinam Akoli, who is currently out of the country to do PhD, right? Yes. And then we also have Miss Sandra King, who works with Site Savers, and she is the deputy treasurer. So we have the treasurer, we have a deputy treasurer. Then this is Chris Ataobin, who works with the National Malaria Elimination Program. And he is the lead organizer. The lead organizer. Then we have Sami Soa Akbo, who is the a deputy organizer. And then we also have Mrs. Jacqueline Edu, who is the second, let's say, second organizer, if I should put it. So we have two deputy organizers, and then the lead organizer. Then we have Rebecca Pralia, who was the main treasurer when it started, but she is also with us, and she is the lead person for the Women in Vector Control for Ghana. You see, so she's also part of the team. But here we need to highlight that in our constitution, we haven't, we've not made any provision for the Women in Vector Control. But then that is something that we need to discuss as a chapter. That we think that that position should be a position that we can elect someone. You know, currently, the individual is appointed by, I think we have the headquarters. They just, you know, through our meetings, when we used to have the meetings, once we have one of our meetings, international conferences, then they will look for reps for Women in Vector Control to, you know, be part of the executives. Or so originally they were not really working in the various countries, if I should put it that way. They were rather working for the headquarters, because these were it was more like the Women in Vector Control had their own group. Okay, so we have Pan-African Mosquito Control, Women in Vector Control in different countries, and these are women who are so they have their own programs, and then they do their own thing without joining the various chapter programs. I don't know whether you get me, but when we took over, we decided to co-opt her to be part of the executive group because we needed it to be coordinated. So otherwise, you have Women in Vector Control having their meetings when even the chapter leaders will not be aware. And that is because they were rather, you know, organizing themselves at the international level, but they're not in country. And so we think that, yes, it's a very important position, but it should be part of the executives of every country. And we should put it in our constitution. Currently, we don't have it as a position that is elected for. So we have the various positions that I've mentioned. President, we have the vice president, we have the secretary, deputy secretary, lead organizer, the two organizers, treasurer, deputy treasurer, but we don't have a Women in Vector Control. So I think it's another general meeting, and therefore we need to agree whether we think that that position should be elected, so that every 3 years we, you know, nominate people and vote on them to be part of the executives. And that is what I want to throw to all of us, so that we take a decision on that. Do we think it's a very important position to be part of the executives, or we think that we should maintain the executives as we have, and then a female will double as whether a secretary and the rep for the Women in Vector Control for Ghana, or we should have an independent person who will solely be a rep for Ghana for Women in Vector Control? So, do you get the question? Let's discuss that, please. We need a microphone. We need a microphone, please. Let's discuss that. Because we are all taking a decision on that quickly. Do we think that we should add it to our constitution that there will be a rep for Women in Vector Control that will have to be nominated and then voted on? Or, yes?
President, I think it's very important to. Yeah, I think.
But how should it be done? How should it be done?
Her mandate in the constitution, but I would like to know, will her role, being part of the executives, I think she should be more autonomous. We should spell out her roles, and I also want to find out if probably, you know, usually this group always organize their events internationally and all that. Will she have some separate funding to organize certain training and other things that she would want to do as a local, being part of the local executives?
Yes, so that is where the challenge is. That's how it's been. It looks like the Women in Vector Control had funding. They had funding elsewhere to organize them. So, I mean, from the headquarters, there were lots of activities that were ongoing. But most of the activities were not being channeled through the various chapters. So they could have their meetings without chapter leaders knowing. I hope you get it. But we should coordinate it well and make sure that we have them as part of the executives for the various chapters. And then we can also look for funding as part of our programs for the women in vector control. I hope you get it. So the country or the group can look for money specifically for women in vector control. And that is because we want to encourage a lot of women, to be in vector control. Or we think we have enough.
No,
we need more. Yes.
As being part of the executives.
Yes.
I feel she should be a bit autonomous, because if you are bringing her as part of the executives, you are the head and the vice is also there.
Yes.
What role is she really going to play as being part of the executive? If she's going to be part, to me, in my opinion, I feel she should have some form of autonomy to also operate.
So that she'll not, if you say autonomy, I don't really understand it, because all the executives have various roles they are playing, and they are autonomous. I mean, it's just that we have the hierarchy where you have the president who supervises whatever is going on. But then the point is that if you say it should be autonomous, are you trying to say that she can do whatever she wants, or she has to do her activities as part of the program for the Ghana chapter? I hope you get it. So we have a program for the year. They bring their activities. We slot it in to the program for the year, and we advertise as part of the Women in Vector Control's activities. Or you want them to organize theirs without adding it to the program for the Ghana chapter activities. Do you get my question?
Yeah. I think since we are still growing up, maybe now she can slot it in the general programs.
Yes.
But because her role is more focused on the women.
It's focused on the women.
Yeah,
yes.
I think when the chapter is growing, she should be set up as a lone body to operate on her own. But she should work in collaboration with the Pamca executives.
Right. Yeah. So as for working with the international, working with the international group or working with the headquarters, that is the purpose for Pamca. Okay, Pamca is a Pan-African idea for all those who believe in Africa and the fact that we can work on our own and all that. So that's fine. But we need to structure it well, because it has to be coordinated. It has to be coordinated. So if we agree that we put in the constitution that there will be a position for women in vector control, it will be elected, so that every 3 years, as we have in our constitution, we'll have someone nominated and it will change. That is one way of doing it. The other way too is that we can ensure that other positions that we have, we reserve one position that can have a dual role. So that person, whether the secretary or whatever, will also work as a woman in vector control. In that case, we ensure that every time there is a woman in the executive position. I don't know whether you get it. So these are the ways that, or you want us to have a separate one person who will be doing women in vector control without doubling as another position. Yes, that's what I hear the women are saying. Yes, only one person. Please. Okay, let's agree on that and move on.
Please, going forward, when you get the microphone, please tell us your name and your affiliation.
Yes.
For the purpose of minute taking.
Okay, so we're going to have a constitutional review, and we'll put in our constitution that the women in vector control rep of the country will be part of the executives for the country. Is that okay? Yes, let's hear you.
Thank you. Dr. Frimpong,
yes.
I think that I'm Seraphim, sorry. I'm Seraphim from Noguchi. I work with the Muzi Biome Lab, headed by Dr. Joanna Colley. Yeah. So, will it be okay to hear from them too? what exactly they do.
They do, yeah.
So that they might also have an opinion on whether they want to stand alone or.
Okay.
And also, in case the person involved in secretariat activities is the same as the one who is heading the women in Vector, and then if they are standing alone, how does their what's their mandate, and how does it change if they have to combine like what Pamca is doing and what they are doing?
Yes, so maybe we can hear from them. So we have Dr. Akwale is here, we have Rebecca. You're also here. Women in Vector Control, what do you do, and where should we place you in terms of the executive position? We want to, in the constitution currently, we don't have women in Vector Control as a position in the executive body. So let's hear from you. You mention your name and where you're coming from.
I'm Howard Diallo from Syngenta.
Right.
I just want to give a small contribution for women in Vector Control.
Right.
Because as Syngenta, we are already contributing at global level. We are really interested on this, I can say, the block of women in Vector Control. So in my opinion, it's more easy for a company like us that this will be part of the executive, because we are ready to support Pamca Ghana, but it will be difficult to have a separate entity. So I think that will be helpful for us to have everything together. So the person in charge can easily contact us to discuss based on the activity they are doing, how we can support and where we can come in. So this is my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for her. So, yes, any other? Kingsley.
Yeah, thank you. Kingsley from Kenya University. So I want to agree with the position that as part of the executives, we should select a position for coordinator of the women in Vector Control, so that it will be part of the executive to have an executive position called the coordinator of women in Vector Control, because it's already there.
Yes.
It's already they're doing very well in all over the place, so you cannot ignore it.
Yeah.
And it's also not good to have it separate when it's not coordinated within Pamca.
Yeah.
Like she's saying, Pamca can go for sponsorship elsewhere, and then they'll be told, oh, women in Vector Control have already come for the money.
Okay.
But if we all have it together as one program, then even if we seek for sponsorship, then we'll budget for the activities as well. So I agree to have an executive position for coordinating the women in Vector Control. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So I think we all agree on that. Please, rapporteurs, I hope you are capturing that. It's been agreed that we add a coordinator for women in Vector Control as part of the executive. Should we move on? Have we agreed on that? All right. So let's move on. Now, Pamca Ghana, we have a vision. The vision is that we want to have a Ghana free of mosquito-borne and other vector-borne diseases. That's the vision. And the mission is to promote research and control of mosquito-borne and other vector-borne diseases and work towards their elimination in Ghana, Africa, and beyond. Please, those online, how many do we have online? Let's be sure. Do we have any? How many do we have? 8. And so, please, alert us if they want to say anything or if they think that they disagree with anything. All right. So, this vision and mission, we have it in line with the Pamca parents, which is at the headquarters, and that is in Kenya. We'll discuss that a bit more when we get to other points. So we have our website. We have a website, Ghana chapter, and that is the website. So you can visit the website anytime, and you will see the vision and mission that we have there. Now, because I mentioned that this is part of the mission and vision, we have it as part of the Pamca parents. It means that we have other siblings, isn't it? Yes, once we have our parent there, the parent gave birth to other siblings, and we need to recognize the fact that the Pamca Pan-African Mosquito Control Association has 18 chapters. 18 chapters. And so we have, whether to say brothers and sisters, or we should say sisters, sister countries, isn't it? All right, we have Benin, we have Burkina Faso, we have Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, and of course Ghana is there. Then Kenya, Malawi, Mali, Mozambique, Namibia, Nigeria, our Oga brothers. Then Rwanda, Senegal, Tanzania, Uganda, and then Zambia, then Zimbabwe. So 18 chapters. And it's very important. We know we have 54 countries in Africa, but we have 18 chapters now. We need to give birth to more chapters, but currently our parents are divorced. So we need to find a way of bringing our parents together to make sure they give birth to more chapters, isn't it? We'll talk more about that as we move on. So what is the focus for the chapter in Ghana? We are focusing on capacity building through trainings. We are looking at collaborations and partnership, dissemination of information and knowledge, institutional capacity building. That's what we have. If you visit the website, you see all of these. Then support for national control or elimination programs. So most of our activities, we hope that we can, leverage, because we have the expertise for vector control. Most of the expertise that we have are members of this organization, and so we can leverage on that to share some of the knowledge that we have with the various programs. And so it's very important. But then the point here is that, do we think that we need to focus on other areas? If you look at the points we have, so if you see the question mark, it indicates, are there any other areas that we can add on to what we have? Let's think about it and add on so that we can update our records or update the website. So we are looking at capacity building through trainings. We are looking at collaborations and partnership, dissemination. In fact, most of this information, we took them from the Pamca parent, the headquarters. I mean, we know their website, isn't it? If you go there, you find some of them. But let's look at if there are specific areas for Ghana that we should capture. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next point. Is there anything that we need to add? Capacity building through trainings, collaborations, and partnership. We stand for that. Dissemination of information. Okay, so if there's any outbreak or so, we can disseminate information and say that, look, these are mosquitoes, based on our expertise. Then institutional capacity building. Try to build various institutions, build their capacity through training. Then support for national programs or elimination programs. Is there anything that we missed, or you want to think through, and then you can update us as we move on? Yes. Daniel.
There's a comment on the YouTube that says that this is from Prof. Michael Osai.
Yeah.
And he suggests that this is going back to the women in vector control.
Okay.
That an executive can be on the committee as an ex officio member.
All right.
So for the women in vector group, you can have an executive there who is represented on the executive body as an ex officio member.
Okay, so not necessarily having a separate position for that. Okay, so is that what we agreed on? So we need to really understand it well. Is it to say that you have any of the executive members playing that role, additional role, as a member of, or as a rep, coordinator for women in vector control, or we have a separate position for women in vector control on the executive, as part of the executive group? Please, do you understand it? We want to be sure, because we've all agreed. I think there's a general consensus that the women in vector control should be part of the executives, right? Yes, it should be part of the executive, but we are not sure whether it should be a separate position or an executive should just play that role. Please, do you get it? Should it be a separate position that we will vote or we will elect an individual for? Or after we've elected the executives for the various positions, then one of them, a female, will play that role as the coordinator for women in vector control? Kingsley? Yeah.
You don't just pick one executive and say, it's a program that It's really about people who have passion for the vector control and organizing the women, the activities. So you can't just say someone who vie for secretary and say go and coordinate. So let's make it a position, a coordinator for women in vector control who has full executive, a member of the executive body, not an ex-officio member.
All right. Do we all agree to that? We agree to
Yes.
that. All right. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so I think we can think through later and update us where the focus should be. Let's move on. So we have a strategic plan for the Ghana chapter, and we are looking at first of all the governance and structure that we have proposed. Governance and structure that we have proposed. So in our constitution, we don't have anything like board of advisors or advisory board for Ghana chapter. We don't have any board of advisors. The name, so we have proposed that we set up board of advisors, and we don't really know what they will do, their mandate and all that. In fact, the discussion was for us to have distinguished individuals who have really established themselves in medical entomology or in vector control and all that. They've made a name, and they can guide us, guide the association through advice, connecting us for funding. In fact, the funding is very important to us. And then occasionally, we can have individuals that are well distinguished. They provide mentorship for us. We can go to them. They show us what to do. And so the executives have agreed that we need a body like that. Okay, we need a body like that. And so, if we all agree, in fact, we've even, if I don't want to say appointed, because these are big people. If you appoint them, it's like you are giving them job to do. So we have, whether to say that we've spoken to some of them, inviting them to form a board that will say advisory board for Ghana chapter, Pamca Ghana chapter. And they will just, as I mentioned to you, but is this something we all agree? Do we agree to that? Great, we agree to that. And so the point is that we don't have it in the constitution. So once we take up a constitutional review, what should be their mandate? What should we put in the constitution? The question is, are they going to have power to be able to discipline an executive if an executive misbehaves? Is a question. And then Kingsley, okay. So let's discuss this. What will be their role, the advisory board? What should be their role? Yes, Kingsley.
With the current scheme of things, with the current scheme of things, we should be very careful in terms of arrogating power.
Right.
If it's an advisory board,
yes,
let it remain like that, an advisory board.
Right.
So they give advice,
and then we decide on whether we want to take it or not.
The way the things are going, if you give board power,
yes,
it may turn to something
else.
Especially now coming to engrave it in the constitution.
Yes.
Mandate. Let's just be advisory board.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. So thank you very much. Do we all agree? So we're going to set up the board. They are just advisory board. Their duty is just to advise the executives, provide direction and all that. They won't have any power to discipline any executive or whatsoever. Agreed. So how do we discipline executives when they misbehave? If the president is misbehaving, what do you do? Or you wait for 3 years and then you vote him out? Is that okay? You impeach. So there should be impeachment in the constitution by
Yes.
2/3 majority.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Please, there is a hand.
Where?
Because we need to agree on some of this governance structure. Okay. So we agree that there can be impeachment in it. We don't have that in the constitution. So we'll go there. You see the constitution that we have. All right. Please, we can't hear. The microphone.
Disciplinary committee for should be a
Okay.
and continuity. So the immediate past president of each tenure should be a part of the board as he goes. Maybe.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'll let you know the names of those that we've been in touch with, and you realize that the immediate past president is a member. All right. So that's a good point, and I think we got it right. The executive got it right. All right. Any other? So there should be a disciplinary committee. In what form should it take? Is it so how are we supposed to establish that? We need ideas on what to do, because all this will go into the constitution. Right from here, we're going to have a constitutional review, and we'll have to set up a group of legal brains to do this for us and share with members to make inputs. Then we can all sign to it and say that this how we want the chapter to go. So should there be a disciplinary committee set up to discipline executives when they misbehave? We need to say this because it can happen. It can happen. You can have an executive that will misbehave and members are not happy and members want to kick him or her out, but then there's no way out to do that. So let's as we think about the positives, we also look at the negatives. Okay, so what should we do because the idea behind the board was to look at a group that is above the executive that will advise. But as we have all indicated, based on what is currently going on, we don't want to bring in any board issue. We want to focus on advisory board. They are just there to advise the executives on what to do. So it is the duty of the executives to take the advice or not. That is all. That ends there. But what if an executive is misbehaving? How do we discipline that executive? Or we don't want to put that in the constitution? If you don't want to put that, we move on. Okay. So what should be the form? 2/3 majority signing petition or something to. So once you sign the petition, what happens? The person just leaves. Won't you listen to the person?
We have the disciplinary committee, and then there is as an executive is misbehaving or something like that.
Yes.
We need to go through the disciplinary committee.
So what will be the committee? Where is it? A board or which? What will be the committee? A different committee.
Yes.
So there should be a disciplinary committee made up of who and who and who. Made up of the. I mean, what should be the membership? Should it comprise members of the advisory board and members? You see, do you get it? Yes. Let's get some views quickly.
My opinion, I think the committee should be made up of maybe 2 members of the executives from the executive, 2 floor members, and then I think 2 members from the advisory board, so that it will cut across.
And who selects those members?
I think that one too will be the mandate of the executives
to select.
Or
so for example, if I am misbehaving as a president, and you ask me to select people to be part of the committee, what do you think I will do? I'll select my close friends, isn't it? I'll talk to them and say, look, I haven't done anything. So when you go, tell them that this and this and that.
But it won't only be the president. I mean, the whole executive.
Okay.
So it won't only be the president.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that the disciplinary committee should be made up of the executives.
No, it should be made up of 2 members from the executives.
And then
2 common floor members. I mean, 2 members of the
Pamca group
chapter. Yeah, and then 2 members from the advisory board.
Okay, I get that. How do we select that? How do we select that? Those who have been on legal boards.
I tend to agree with what he's saying. Just that I was going to mention about 3 people. 1 advisory board member, 1 executive, and 1 member. So this should be spelled out in the constitution. So if it happens that the president has issues, there would have been the 2/3 majority bringing up a petition.
Yes.
In that case, the president will step aside for the investigation to go on. So he will not be the one selecting. But the rest of the executives, going by what is in the Constitution, saying that one person from here, one person from here, one person from here. Or, well, after the numbers, we can agree to disagree. I don't believe in a lot of people sitting here, but if you have three that they might have a vote and have a decision, that should be fine. Yeah.
Right.
So I think it should be ad hoc, as and when the thing happen.
Okay.
But then the Constitution spells out how it should be done.
Okay. Yeah. So that will only be triggered if there is a 2/3 majority petition. If there's no petition, that investigation will not be triggered. Do we agree? We agree. So that should be 2/3 majority of registered members, not people who are saying it all. Not people who are saying it or are registered. If you are not registered, you not paid your dues, you won't have that locus for anything. So, all right. Okay, read it out. I can't see it. Read it for us. From online.
Okay, so this is from Millicent. She says we can have some members of the executive, advisory and committee members, and there should be a subcommittee. And then also Michael says WIVC can be on the executive committee as ex-officio members. Yes. Thank you.
All right. So I think we will please, rapporteurs, I hope you are capturing everything. Yes. So what we are going to do is that now we know that if there is any executive misbehaving, we can have a petition from 2/3 majority, registered members, 2/3. You trigger investigation for a disciplinary committee to be set up, and then the composition is what we now need to, flesh up and then see how we're going to do that. So that will be done. I mean, let's move on. Yes.
Some people is also writing under Pamca WhatsApp.
Okay, so please, we need that information. So if there are any points coming up, please read it for us. Read it for us.
So that's Andrew.
Yes.
He said, if the advisory team can't recommend discipline or can't recommend one misconduct him or herself, define the behavior and appropriate sanctions.
Okay. So he is of the view that we should allow the board to discipline the executives. Is that what I get? Well, I think majority is saying that we don't want that. So we've gone past that. So thank you. Yes. So now we've agreed on this. Let's move on. And then we also hope to meet the board. The executives will meet the board maybe once or twice a year, just to get some feedback from them or get some advice. And what do you think about that? Is that okay? To meet the board, the advisory board, meet them officially, maybe once a year or twice a year. It shouldn't be very frequent, because we can go to them as and when. I mean, individuals, we can talk to them, but then meet them as a board together to update them with what we have done, our vision, and or what we want to do every year. Maybe beginning of the year, we meet them and they make inputs on what. So that's what we want to do. Is that okay? Should we? Yes. So we'll decide on whether once or twice a year, depending upon their time. If this thing is once a year, we'll do that. Now let's move on. This is what we have in Ghana for now. So we wrote to a number of individuals for them to be part of the advisory board, and they've agreed to be part of the board. We have Professor Samuel Kwekudazi, who is currently the chairperson of the board, and I'm sure we know him. That's the immediate past president. And then we have Professor Fred Binka. I'm sure we all know him too. Very distinguished professor who is with the UHAS, the university, also agreed to be a member of the board. Then we have Mr. Sylvester Segbeya, our chairperson, who is from the private organization. So the idea is to have a board that is comprised of people from academia, the theme, academia, from research, from the private institution and the public institution. So we have Professor Kojo Kuram, who was the keynote speaker. Then we have Mr. Samuel Esiedu with Agamau, also from the private sector. Then Professor Yao Afrani, who is a lecturer at the University of Ghana Medical School. And then we have Dr. Umo Maiga Askofari. Am I right? Yes. So he is, she, right? She is a senior lecturer at KNUST. Okay. KCCR, rather. Okay, that's good. And then we have Professor Philip Kweku Bedu, also from KNUST, a member. Then Professor Alexander Eju Yosin from UCC, who is also a member. Then Professor Daniel Boachi, I'm sure we all know him, from Noguchi. Then Reverend Dr. Ebenezer Kwame Adey from Zoom Lion, also from the private institution. So we have 11 individuals that we have who have agreed. Whether we increase or decrease, it depends on us. There's no number. We haven't agreed on any number in our constitution, but I think we can leave it open, isn't it? Or we should cap it. Should we cap it at a particular number? Should we cap it? We should cap it. Okay. What number should we? We have 11. It should be an odd number.
7.
We should cap it at 7. Okay. Should we cap it at 7? So if we need to cap it lower, it's okay, because we know how to engage some of them to disengage them. Okay, we know how to engage some of them to disengage them, because these are very busy people. If you tell them that, some of them it was very even difficult, but others were, they were very excited about it. But they are very busy people. So if we think we want to reduce the number, like I said, we can engage them to disengage them. It's very easy. So what number? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Right. So before, we mentioned that we decided to engage people who are well established in the field of vector control or medical entomology, basically. Not necessarily in the field, but then people who can help to link us up, for maybe funding, looking for funding. Also, they could be mentors for the organization or for members of the organization. So basically, these are people who will just be advising us on the way forward and helping us to raise funds for the association. And then also supporting us with advice on how the association should move. So it's based on just purely advice. We have agreed that they won't have any power to do anything, whether to hire or fire anybody in the association. They won't have any power. That one we've agreed. But then they will just be there to support us, especially for fundraising and then helping the association, basically. So that's why we select these individuals. And then when we need them to maybe, like Professor Kuram did, public speech and all that, because of their experience and the position, they can help us either by themselves or link us with someone who can do that. So that's why we yes. Please go ahead.
I don't doubt any of the people.
Right.
I don't doubt any of the people on the list.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about fundraising, raising funds from academic research is different.
Right.
Raising funds from different entities too are different.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about somebody who has a fundraising skill.
Yeah.
That if Pamca should develop a project, the person can sell it and get a buyer.
Yeah.
Right? I know if it is the academia, I go there, but I'm talking about the skill to raise funds for activities.
Yes.
And even who are the funders that we are going to target.
Yes.
And do they have that cloud before those raise funds for that?
Yes.
In terms of fundraising, I think the first thing is let's even look within ourselves.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. If we have something, then we can go and ask for a top up. But I'm just thinking aloud. If it doesn't make sense, let it.
Right. So as we mentioned, this is still in progress, and the list that we have here are proposals. We've been in touch with them, and they have agreed. But like I mentioned, for one or two individuals, it was even a challenge. We virtually have to maybe kind of convince them because of time, because of maybe their time schedule and all that. So if we need to add more people or disengage others, to me, it should be easy to do that. We know how to do that, okay? But then we need names from you. We need suggestions from you, because I think that the numbers we have here are just the advisory board. But in terms of even having this 11, to meet them to discuss anything, it will not work. It will not work. So I can say that even if we need to work here, we may have about 50%. If we need to get them seated to work at a time, it will be about 50%. And it will not be 50% of the same people. At a time, you will be able to engage this group of advisors. Other times, you'll be able to engage another group. So I think that if you have names of people we need to bring on board, this is not complete. I think we should be able to add on one or two individuals, as members of the advisory board. And there is a proposal that is coming from the executives. Yes. Yes.
All right, thank you. So maybe this is what I'll recommend, that is spending a lot of time on this. I think once AGM has accepted in principle that you should have an advisory board, let's go back, let's have the executive define the terms of reference for the advisory board, and that would inform the category or the kind of people that you want to put on the board. You can start with this, and then move forward going forward. So that would be my recommendation.
And in fact, if we think that we want to cap it, I would suggest that we vote. I would suggest that we organize. We can talk to them and say that, for the advisory board, we have agreed on a certain number, and this will be more like a nomination, and then we can either vote. Otherwise, we leave it as it is and define the terms then we move on. So yes, we can look at that later. Yes, a question.
Please, for the rapporteuring,
yes,
please mention your name and your affiliation. This is very important.
My name is Kojo Frimpong.
I am Kabna Ekini. I'm from Gaek.
Okay.
I wanted to caution us about the board.
Okay.
No, in Ghana, if a board is meeting now, money matter.
Yeah, money.
If you have a 30-member board,
no, I didn't hear that. If we have 30 members doing what? Mm-hmm. So we should add.
So we should be careful, no?
Okay. So mean that when we meet them twice a year, accounts will go down. What does it mean? That meeting them, we have to feed them and do all those things. Well, we can regulate that. Okay, so once a year. We'll do online meeting, please. We'll do online meeting. Okay, but once a year is okay, right? Once a year. Please, we are not going to do any. You see, we want to make it clear to them. It's not like the board that we have in those corporate world. Please, we don't have money. See the way we struggle to even organize this conference. So I think that these individuals, I know they are all passionate about Pamca, and we can make it clear to them. In fact, we can even agree to put in our constitution that we are not paying any advisory board membership. We are not giving them any sitting allowance. I mean, no, we should be able to spell it out. It should be purely voluntary. If you want to support an organization, it's not like we pay for your flight ticket for you to fly to, if you're in the country, you want to have a meeting. We will not do that. We will not do that. So, if that is going to be the issue, these are purely voluntary basis. So, we will not do that. We will not do that. Yes, Mrs. Shabi.
You called my name already. So I'm covered.
So we have a Pamca Cote d'Ivoire is here. So in fact, there should be a slogan. I think Pamca should have a slogan that if you say Pampa, then you have mosquito control in Cameroon. Isn't
I brought
it?
that to you, right?
So, so Pamca, mosquito control in Cote d'Ivoire. All right. Right. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Hello? Hello?
Yes. Yes.
Hello? Okay,
Yeah.
my name is Joseph Chabi,
Yeah.
and I'm a former member of Pamca Ghana.
Yes.
They keep me off. Okay. I'm now Pamca Cote d'Ivoire, as he said.
Right.
And I to be with you guys. For
Yeah.
trying to slap the numbers. If you come up.
All right. Right.
At the end of the year, you see that some are
Yeah.
engaged,
Yeah.
drop,
Yeah.
see how best, but
Yeah.
it's actually difficult to engage someone and come
And
back
then
later.
yeah, right. Right.
But let's keep this number for now. You don't need to vote, but you already engage them, keep them, and see how it goes. Thank you.
Yes. So that is, I agree with you, because as I mentioned, it's for some of them it's very easy to disengage. Yeah. So that is all that I can say. So let's move on, and we'll see how it goes based on their participation and all that. We'll see how it goes. All right. Yes.
I'm going to disagree with him a little.
Okay.
An addition, Mandru Saibu, IVCC. An addition, all
Yes.
the things we do is about malaria, and
Right.
NTDs are coming in.
Yes.
Okay, on the advisory board, at least if it is a national malaria control program.
Yes.
It
So if
doesn't
I'm
have to.
yes. So please, I don't want to, but one of the first person that we wrote to was Dr. Maum, but she indicated that her timelines. So we are still engaging.
I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about
the institution. Okay, fine.
So the program
All
manager
right.
will always be there. It's the persons that will change.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, but they can also delegate somebody because the research you have.
Okay.
They can also feed you what are some of the challenges that they have, bring it, and you provide some guidance.
Yes.
Right. So I think that National Malaria Control Program
Should be part of it.
Should be part of.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And like I mentioned, we've already engaged the institution, but then because of activities and all that, it was declined. But we will still engage and indicate that it's not the individual, but the institution. Okay. So I want to make it clear on record that we've done that. And so that, yeah. So maybe, we'll continue doing that. So membership. We need to advocate for more members. Now, who is a member of Ghana chapter? We want to understand who can be a member of Ghana chapter. So I have our constitution here, and we need to agree on that. So if you have, should it be Ghanaians? Should it be people living in Ghana? Should it be, so who should be a member of Ghana chapter? Can we agree on that? Can we agree on that? Yes? People living in Ghana, Ghanaians, so only people living in Ghana. So, or Ghanaians or anybody who believes in Ghana chapter. anybody at all who believes in Ghana chapter. Yes, so there's a contribution here.
Sorry, Jiwelna.
Yes.
Noguchi.
Yes.
Anybody, what do you mean by anybody who believes in Ghana chapter?
Me, I don't know. I don't know.
I agree. The person should be Ghanaian first and foremost.
Okay.
It doesn't matter where they live at the moment, but the person has to be Ghanaian and has to be passionate about mosquito control or vector control in general. And that's the first two criteria. As for the others, I don't know, but the person has to be Ghanaian.
So how did Shabi become a member? Shabi, how did you become a member?
How does she become a member? How does the person?
Shabi was a member. He said he was a member.
He was in Ghana at the time.
So is it those Ghanaians and those residing in Ghana?
First of all, he's not a Ghanaian. You see, so he's not. He's not a Ghanaian, but he was in Ghana at the time, and he joined.
So I'm trying to get the. So who should be a member, who can be a registered member of Pamca-Gh Ghana chapter?
Myself and Joanna.
Yes.
We are on the Executive Council for American Committee of Medical Entomology.
Hey, how did you become members?
Yes. We are not Americans, but we are executive members.
All right.
We are most of us here are members of American Society of Tropical Medicine.
I want to go there.
But we are not Americans.
Okay.
Yes. So I want to suggest that anybody, anywhere, who is interested in the ideals of our association, be it our objectives and our activities, and they are interested to support, and they register to pay their dues, they should be given membership.
Do we agree?
You can choose that if somebody is not a Ghanaian, maybe they should pay extra. But but if they believe in what we do and they pay the dues to register, I think they should be allowed to become members. Thank you.
Do we agree? Please, are there any? Yes, so let's listen to others.
We can call those members affiliate members.
So would they have certain powers that others do not have, or would they not have certain powers that other members will not have? Please, let's agree.
So when you have different levels of membership, you can prescribe what each level of membership has the mandate or the ability to do. For example, we can have affiliate members who are exempt from voting, and have the whatever tagline you'd have for another category of members who are able to vote once they are they have fulfilled financial obligations.
All right.
Yes. I'm Priscilla from KCCR. I think that we should also look at what the parents Pamca says about this, because if we open it up and then we will become more attractive, and then people from other countries, the African countries, tend to be registering with us. Probably we may have an issue with the headquarters or the parent, Mother Pamca. So we should see what their constitution say about membership.
Yes, so that's what I have here. In fact, that's what I have here. I was going to read what we have, but the parent is parent. With this Ghana chapter, we derive the member or the power from the parent, but then we also have certain specific things that we need to indicate as Ghana chapter. But let me read what we have from the parent. It says that membership to the organization shall be open to any individual of high professional and ethical standing who works on mosquito or vector control across the entire African continent and who supports the objectives of the organization. That's what we have. In fact, if you see how many people compare the Ghana chapter's constitution with the Pamca parent, we send the two to members. Yeah, it's very similar. The only thing you see Ghana here and you don't see Ghana here. So it was virtually adopted, and then so it means that we agree with what Kingsley. This agrees with what Kingsley mentioned, that Membership to the organization shall be open to any individual of high professional and ethical standing who works on mosquito or vector control across the country, or in Ghana, isn't it? So here it has entire Africa, the African continent, and who supports the objectives of the organization. So I think we can adopt the same thing. So anyone who supports our objectives can be a member. But then we can think through whether we want to have different category of membership in our constitution. I think for the legal, those legal brains will think about. So rapporteur, capture it that this will go by this membership, but then there will be different category of membership when it comes to voting and other things that will be done. We'll look at that. All right. Thank you very much. Let's move on. So we also plan to identify regional or zonal coordinators. Okay, in Ghana, we want to have regional or zonal coordinators. Is this something that we should also look at? Where we have maybe regional reps, so we have the executive, but we have coordinators from different regions who mobilize. They can also mobilize the members within the various regions. So, for example, we have 16 regions. We're going to have 16 coordinators for Pamca Ghana. Is this something we should adopt? Please, we want to hear you. Or we should just do it, the executives. We control everything in every part of the country. How should we do that in terms of the organizational structure?
I'm Jiwelna again.
Yes.
At some parts, yes, would make sense if we have zonal coordinators. Because I'll take an example. When it comes to Malaria Day or Mosquito Day celebrations, we end up doing very little as Pamca. And then, it's a few of us at Noguchi who end up bringing some few things together and then, mounting a stand somewhere or doing something to commemorate the day. However, if we have zonal coordinators, then I think the activities would be more likely spread across the country as much as possible. Even if 2 places are doing it, it could be the northern sector or southern sector, or I don't know how we're going to do it, but something like that would let our activities spread a bit wider. However, apart from that, I'm yet to identify what else they will be doing. So we need to, if we need them, then we need to clearly identify the scope within which they are going to work and try to also empower them. Because we could just give the names, okay, this person is a zonal, and then we don't empower them in any way to do what they need to do. And then we come back and we ask them for some accountability, and they are found wanting. So we need to think through it carefully. Things are now, we've been Pamca Ghana for a long time, and I think this zonal thing was discussed some few years ago, but it really didn't work. So if we are going to do it, then we need to clearly define it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. But you think we should have a structure like that, right? Yeah, we will think about that. Then currently we engage, yes, Monsieur Shabi.
A little bit, but the zone. We have vector control. Pamca Ghana, YAMF, and vector control. So those things are already specific for
the yeah.
Exactly what will be their scope. Something, but I don't know what we are going to check the scope very well.
All right, thank you very much. So currently we are engaging members on the WhatsApp platform. So we'll encourage all of us, once, if you register as a member, you should be added to the WhatsApp platform. So if you are here and you've not been added, you can see Rebecca after the meeting, and then we get your details and add you to the WhatsApp platform, because that's the only medium of communication that we can have to interact. Okay, the other ones, which is the email, we may not be able to interact as a group. So apart from our annual meetings or programs that we have, we need to be interacting. So that's the only way that we can interact now on the WhatsApp group. Then we also have a Google link. Now it's a website, I mean, for membership. So those who want to be members and you've not done that, you've not registered, you can visit the website and look at. Is there any other way that we can enhance the member or increase the membership? Is there any other way? Let's think through. Let's move on, but let's think through. Then we have programs. Yes. Okay, there is any other way that we can enhance the membership? Yes.
Talking about the zonal coordinators.
Yes.
I think they can do the membership drive with institutions in their zones.
Yeah.
If you have a coordinator for the northern region, for example, he will bring and do a membership drive.
Yeah.
Then recruit members into the association.
Right.
That's what I think.
Okay, that's very good. So I think it's a good idea, but then at a point in time we will exhaust the 200 that we have on the WhatsApp platform, and it means that we may have to, I don't know, maybe get zonal platforms for communication. But that will be very important. If we get the numbers, then we can have those zonal, and then we have reps on the main platform to communicate. So we'll look at that. Then programs. So our programs have been mainly organizing webinars. I'm sure we all know that. We've been organizing webinars. We want to do it maybe every other month, if it's possible. Every other month. Okay, Joanna is disagreeing with us. We are very busy. It will not work, isn't it? It won't work. So what about every quarter? Every quarter we have a program. So it can be a webinar. We can have anyone presenting. So like we have programs 4 times a year. As for the conference, depending upon how it goes, we don't know whether you can make it annually or biannually, but it depends on funding. Daniel, you don't agree with annual conferences because it hasn't been easy, organizing this conference because of funding challenges. And in fact, also because of the challenges that Pamca is having now. There were companies that we wrote to and they indicated that currently Pamca is not in the position for them to identify with the conference. It was very unfortunate. Very, very, very unfortunate that, we get to this point where you write to a company and they tell you that, well, because of the current issues that are going on, we don't want to, we have the money, but we don't want to associate with Pamca. And that is very sad. And that, as I mentioned, we have parents who have divorced. We don't know how to handle it. We need to give birth to more countries. We have 18 sister countries, and out of the 54, but because our parents have divorced, they can't produce anymore. Our mother is having the rest in the womb, but it needs to be fertilized. So maybe we can talk about that later and give birth to more. Yes.
I think
Andrew.
Drawing some lessons from that.
Yeah.
Some lessons.
Yeah.
Let's be how we are.
Right. Yeah.
I think we've learned some lessons from Pamca Global.
Yeah.
There is no free lunch anywhere.
Yeah.
In this world.
Yeah.
Okay. So if Ghana chapter wants to stand on its feet, let's do things differently. I think one of the key things has been, this was predicted.
Yeah.
5 years down the line.
Yeah.
That so, if anybody is putting his money into Ghana chapter,
yeah,
the money can look juicy.
Yeah.
But would you understand the reason behind the money being given to you?
Yeah.
I think that's where one of the key things. And those of us who were, I'm sure Dr. Kingsley remembers, those of us who sat in the audit and then forensic report, we saw the comments that were coming.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to job.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
A little thing comes, instead of me to tap your back, I'll
Yeah.
just be pulling you down.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's take note.
Yeah.
Where we raise money from and how we use the money.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much for the advice. Thank you very much. We'll take it. And yes.
Sometimes a lot of this work is done on voluntary basis.
Yeah.
But if we are taking any cue from what is happening,
yeah,
then we should try, for example, in a program like this, we should engage an accountant.
Yeah.
Budget such that you have an accountant who can understand all the financial principles.
Yeah.
There are some things that you are doing, you have no ill motive. But for example, you send somebody to go and buy this, and the person come without receipt. And you just write it down. Later, an auditor will be looking at it and say, what is the evidence that you did this? But the person doing it is not an accountant. He doesn't understand all those things. We are doing it voluntarily.
Yeah.
And so it's important that right from scratch, we should engage certain systems and principles that will help us.
Right.
It will be your defense later. At least your reputation.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to earn that reputation, but so easy to lose it.
To lose it, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, based on what he said, should we engage a financial, there's a position. We have treasurer and we have financial secretary, yes. Should we add financial secretary to the positions that we have? Because as of now, we have treasurer and deputy treasurer. Should we rather make it a treasurer and a financial secretary? Because a financial secretary will be someone with that expertise to be able to organize the finances very well. Even if that person is not a scientist, we can bring on board that individual to be part of the executives. So we have administration here, we have people who are, we have accountants here. We can engage people like that to be on the executive body as a financial secretary. So instead of having a treasurer and deputy treasurer, yes.
My name is Andreas from UCC. My opinion, I don't think the person should be part of the executive. But if that can
then we pay. Because it will not be free. Oh. It will not be free. If you have such a person, you have to pay. You have to pay. Yes. But you see, we need, you see, the organization of the receipts, as you mentioned, the person will come in after we've made all the mistakes. And then now we'll try to. So why don't we have somebody who will be responsible for organizing it as part of the executive? Because in our churches we have it, don't we have that? Yes, in most of the groups, we have a treasurer and we have a financial secretary. The treasurer is the one who mobilizes the funds and records and then the financial secretary is the one who prepares the statements, prepares the budget and all that. And that person, in most cases, will have the expertise to do that. Yes.
Why don't we say the treasurer should have a certain expertise? That will solve the problem. So the who is vying for the treasurer should have a certain expertise.
Okay. Then now, very soon, it means that, well, we can agree on that. But why do we need to have a deputy treasurer? Do you get it? Currently in our constitution, we have a treasurer and we have a deputy treasurer. It's in our constitution. Did we review it? We didn't review it. So currently, in the executives, we have a treasurer and we have a deputy treasurer. And you realize that sometimes, because if there's no work, there's no work. So the service treasurer will just, be there. There's no work. So why don't we engage a treasurer and a financial secretary? Based on the advice from Kingsley. Or don't we agree? You think we should still maintain what we have in our constitution, treasurer and deputy treasurer? Yes. Yes, but you see, as it is now, they are both playing the same role. It's like the treasurer will just give the deputy treasurer, oh, do this, do that. And sometimes it's more like duplication of activities. And in most cases, you see that maybe the deputy will not have much to do. Unless there's a conference. In fact, during the conference, they get busy like this. But outside the conference, it's virtually, there's we don't have much going on. Yes. 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 Yes.
As a financial secretary, and he can write an account for the money. He keeps the money in the bank, right? You need someone. Do you need somebody who has a box and keep the money as a treasurer? Or what is the differences?
I get.
Yeah.
Well,
so what is the differences between the financial secretary?
The way I understand is that the treasurer is the one who has been trying to mobilize the funds. So talk to people. Oh, you've not paid your dues. You have to pay your dues. You have to do them, collect the money, and then give you receipts. That's the work of the treasurer. That's the way I understand it. So mobilize the funds. Kind of mobilize the funds. Of course, we have our funds. We have a bank account. And then deposits at the bank. Yeah. That's their duty.
Yeah, I think financial
mobilize,
can do the same thing.
Give receipts, keep the money in the bank. That's it. And if you want to disperse the funds, I think the treasurer is also a signatory to the account, and will just issue or sign to it. And that's where the work ends. When it comes to organizing the receipts, preparing statements, and telling the story of how we've spent and how the treasurer doesn't do that.
So, President.
Yes.
A humble appeal.
Yeah.
I think we task the executives to talk to maybe an internal auditor.
Yeah.
Just tell the auditor or that's somebody with that expertise.
Yeah.
This is what Pamca does. These are the types of sources of money we have.
Yeah.
These are the types of expenditure we do. The person can provide some guidance.
Okay.
And to what you should do in terms of a request, a review, an approval, in terms of if you are throwing tenders. I mean, there should be limitations. Right. There are some places based on the amount 2 people can sign. There's another place if it is more, somebody comes in. So the executives can talk to the financial experts, okay? So that particularly those in treasurer and assistant treasurer. I mean, we have them already. It is not the time to now see how their capacity can be built to play the role that we want them to play.
Right. Thank you very much. So we'll take note of that. Do we have any comments from online? Please, we need comments from online. Yes. There is a hand here. Please check for us. Are there any comments from online? We need to yes.
Okay, so my name is Bernard Osei.
Right.
I'm from University of Cape Coast and then GAEC Binari.
Yeah.
I think I like to side with your suggestion that we can have, instead of having the treasurer and an assistant or deputy, we can have the financial secretary who can manage the day-to-day activity in terms of the spending and then drafting of the budgets rather than waiting and then before.
Yeah.
Once we have that, we can always also sort, advice from auditors or whoever has that. But then the person who plays the financial secretary must have those skills to be able to have that. So that we don't wait for the problem to be happen before we go that way.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So we will share, we will engage those account guys and then auditors for this conference, the funds that we were able to raise and the spending, and so we'll do that and then share with members so that we all see what has gone into this conference and all that. Then we also, for our physical meetings, of course, we indicated that. So the conference, is it once the annual conference? Should we make it annually or biannual? Assuming we have all the funds, okay, we have all the funds to organize the conference every year. Is it feasible to do this every year? Is it feasible to do this every year? Or we want us to do it every other year? Every other year. Ghana chapter, do we do this every year? Yes.
Andreas, UCC. So now, as you said, our parents have divorced, but we hope they will come.
We hope they will marry, they will get back.
We were having 2 years.
It was every year. the international conference was every year.
Yeah,
was
it's true.
every year. The last one was in Ethiopia, isn't it? 2023, right? And since then, we've not had the conference. So it's every year. In fact, it's in the constitution. It's in the constitution that it shouldn't be more than 15 months. I mean, so the interval for conference should be more than 15 months. We should have reviewed it. It's just 16 pages. It's just 16 pages. No, the last page is the signature page. But then, so let's say 15 pages. We sent it to you when? It wasn't yesterday. Yesterday. But you can do this within a day. Some of you were just watching movies. Okay. So the point is that we have it in the constitution that every 15 months the conference should be organized. So it's virtually, it shouldn't go beyond 15 months. That's the way I understand it, if you read it. So it's like, from the last one, it shouldn't be more than 15 months. You should organize another one. So it's annual. But what do we think as Ghana chapter? What should we do? Yeah. Yes, for the international, for the headquarters, Kenya. Yes. It's cool, right? Yeah. That's great. I agree. In fact, this conference, I think we should all clap for ourselves. It's been great, and I think that we can have a break for 2 years, if not. But I mean, every other year, if we all agree, because of funding issues and all that, maybe we can do it every other year, and then